Oh, it's 10 o'clock on the west coast of the United States. It is 1 o'clock on the east coast. It is 0500 GMT, 0500, that's 5 a.m. Sunday morning if you're living in London. I'm Sebastian.
I'm Sarah Bell.
And this is the only fast food, junk food extravaganza we have to tell you about on the internet. The only place where you can get the fast food news, the junk food discussions that affect you. And Sarah Bell, I have to say, you floored me this week. Actually, it wasn't quite you that floored me so much as these people who put ice cubes in their cereal. What the fuck is that?
I don't know. I mean, I was looking, apparently the UK is having a heat wave. I'm not sure what the Celsius is, but apparently it's in the 70s in Fahrenheit in the UK, and everyone was losing their shit. And all these posts started popping up saying, am I the only one who eats their cereal with ice cubes in it? Which was absolutely disgusting. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, well, we will get to that, including the disgusting pictures, which I feel like is one of the things that really kind of were... I mean, we'll talk about this, but the claim was... What the fuck? My good... Oh, there she is. She's back. Hello, dear.
Hello. You got very kind of slowed down and choppy.
I am Iron Man. No. So the claim with the... I mean, we'll talk about it, as I said, coming up. But the claim with this ice cubes in your cereal thing is it keeps you cooler?
I don't even know what the claim is. I just know that I saw all these pictures, and then I saw a BuzzFeed article about it, and I was like, no, bad, no.
Yeah.
Bad.
I mean, again, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it all coming up. Apparently, not only is it sort of that people put ice in their cereal, but they do it for any number of possible reasons. And apparently the problems that you and I would think would occur from this are somehow easily ignored or are not problems at all. I don't fucking know. We will talk about all of this coming up. Also, the link between junk food and depression. Now, I know if you ask me, junk food... hold on a second here. Junk food is a very, very depressing thing. I'm miserable when I eat Junior Mints. I am miserable when I drink Mountain Dew. Actually, okay, right now I am miserable because Mountain Dew.
Because you had the two together, and that was very, very smart to have one in front of the other.
It's like fucking. It's like eating. I don't know. Ice cubes in your cereal, maybe. I don't know. But there apparently is a link between junk food and depression. We will talk about that coming up. You had some... Also, oh yeah, the fast food spokesperson. This was actually in the real news. The fast food spokesperson this week, whose house got raided.
Right.
He's not a fast food spokesperson anymore. Here's a hint, though. I once interviewed this man on the radio in San Francisco. Don't know if you knew that. Tell me one of the stories you gave me, because all of the stories you gave me are standing by on my screen here.
Well, I think the one that upsets me the most is the milk and ice cube phenomenon that I apparently missed.
Yeah, well, I feel like we should let's save that for the bottom of the hour. So if you're going to tune in at 10:30, if you want to skip the first part of the show for whatever reason, you can tune in for halfway through the show. We will save that one, because that's a really good story. I tell you what, let's start with the one I was talking about the sort of link between, I don't know, depression and junk food. Now, a lot of people can say a lot of things about scientific research. Anybody who has a problem with a scientific research study often can say, oh, that study is bullshit because it was not methodologically sound, or, you know, it had some kind of problem. You can hear the English teacher in me coming out because I said methodologically. Very, very careful in my pronunciation for my Espanol students. But let's look at the article. and see if you think it's bullshit. Oh, also, cereal is actually struggling. General Mills is a thing that has having some struggling. Cheerios are struggling. We'll talk about that. Also, people are actually putting ice cubes on their damn cereal. Here's the strange link between junk food and depression. Oh, yeah, coming up at the end of the show. Here's the one. 13 junk foods from around the world that look pretty weird but are really delicious. And also the 5 fast food places you should not eat at and why. And then the 1 fast food place you should eat at if you can. So we got a lot coming up. That'll be the last thing at the end of the show, where you shouldn't eat and where you should, for sort of not just fast food deliciousness reasons, but actually like social responsibility or whatever the fuck. If you're a boycotter of businesses that do shit badly for whatever reason, you'll love that article. With the bottom of the hour, we will talk about cereal and ice cubes, and if we are weird in thinking it's bad, or if you are weird in thinking it's good. But right before that, we will talk about the spokesperson who is not a spokesperson for fast food anymore. But first, junk food and depression. What do you think about junk food and depression, Sarabelle?
I think that as I take a drink of my healthy water, yay, water, woo. I think that, well, I haven't read the article, so I don't know if they're saying that junk food is the cause of depression, or people who are depressed lean more towards junk food.
Good, very smart observation. And in fact, I think I will say this, that not only is that a smart observation, even the scientists themselves may not know. You know, all they can say is there is some sort of link, some sort of association. They can't say if it's cause and effect, junk food, and it causes depression, or if depression causes you to eat junk food. I mean, we'll look at that. But I think that's a really good place to start.
Yeah, because I mean, that's my thought, because I know that I've seen a number of shows on the History Channel, or not the History Channel, but the Body Science Channel. I'm not sure which one that is.
The Learning Channel. The
Learning Channel, yeah, saying that the fats and the sugars will light up in the brain the reward centers and the parts of the brain for you've done good or you've done well. So if someone's feeling kind of crappy about themselves, you know, they may subconsciously turn to these things that light up the part of the brain that will help you feel better.
Absolutely. In fact, they talk about sugary foods, especially the foods with added sugar. The foods with added sugar can make your brain respond in the same way that like a cocaine addict's brain responds to cocaine. So sugar is like the new white powder we can all sniff and make it all, I don't know. I can just picture myself doing lines of confectioner's sugar off of the bakery. I don't know. I feel like that would be probably pretty gross. I mean, I never was into any of those kind of chemicals because I don't like putting things in my nose. But I suppose that's no weird. Let's look at the article, okay?
Okay.
Here we go. The strange link between junk food and depression. This is from a serious, reputable magazine as far as this goes, Time magazine. Some, but not all sugars were associated with depressive disorders. Now, of the many modern diseases, they have a new study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. So before you say this is bullshit science, it is at least peer-reviewed, okay? This is a real scientific thing. Professor at Columbia University wanted to find out whether foods with a higher glycemic index that ranks carbohydrate-containing foods by how much they make your blood sugar go up. I guess how bad they are for diabetics.
Right.
And if it would be associated with a greater odd of depression. When I was a kid, I was almost like a candy junkie. Hello, that's me. I noticed for myself, if I eat a lot of sugar, it makes me feel down the next day. That is not me. So I want to start right there and say, you know, while I identify with this guy saying as a kid he was a candy junkie, even now I am a bit of a candy junkie, a sugar junkie, certainly. But it does not make me feel like shit. And maybe that's where I'm unique, is that some people say, oh, I don't like McDonald's because I feel like shit the next day, or I feel like shit immediately afterward, or whatever reason. I don't feel like shit psychologically, and I don't feel like shit physically. What about you?
I never really have a problem with the kind of feeling like shit unless it's something that has affected my GI system, like something that's a little bit too spicy from Taco Bell, or something, you know, the fries that were a little bit too greasy. I tend to like candies that I don't have to chew. I've got the bad teeth, so any kind of taffy, any kind of hard candy that you chew, I don't like. So I am more of a sucker than a chewer.
You're a sucker. You're a sucker more than a chewer. Well, those are your words.
I'm a sucker than a chewer. Like, if I can have a handful of gummy bears that will last me 45 minutes to an hour, because I will suck on them and let them dissolve rather than sit there and chew and chew and chew. And, you know, so I may have less intake because I'm spreading it out over a longer period of time. Okay. Therefore, maybe I won't get that crash. I don't know.
Gotcha. That certainly is kind of valid, at least from a relatively, benign scientific standpoint. I don't know. Tell me this. I mean, this study was more about sugary than salty snacks. Which do you prefer, sugary or salty snacks, or do you have a preference?
I have a preference of salty. I will like the potato chips or Cheetos or even sunflower seeds. Those are more go-to to me than your chocolates and candies, mainly because, you know, living in Arizona most of my life, you can't keep chocolates around. You know, you can't throw a bar of chocolate in your purse and, you know, do your day without worrying about it melting and squishing.
Do you know, I wish I could show you the inside of this box of Junior Mints right now, because they've literally kind of melted into a big glob on the inside of the box, as you say. And it's not all that hot. Now, I cannot say I like one or the other. There are some times when I'm just in the mood for nothing sweet and everything salty. And I mean maximum salty, like really, really salty foods. And then there are other times when I'm in the mood only for something sweet and keep the salty shit away. Now, my one rule, as you know, is no matter what,
cross the flavors.
No matter what, do not cross the flavors. Sweet is over here, salty is over here. I don't want them both in my mouth at the same time. Blah, blah, blah. Back to the article, though. The strange link between these two things. He and a team of researchers looked at data from food questionnaires and a scale that measures symptoms of depressive disorders from postmenopausal women. Okay, so there's maybe one limitation, is this study looked at least some data that was only from postmenopausal women and not women who are still menstrual, although it is 70,000 such women, none of whom had suffered from depression at the start of the study, who had baseline measurements taken between 94 and 98, and then again. Diets higher on the glycemic index, more sugary foods, including those enriched in refined grains and added sugar, were associated with greater odds of depression. Some aspects of diet had protective effects against developing depression, like fiber, whole grains, whole fruits. Why is it always the shit nobody likes that makes you better? Like fiber, whole grains, whole fruits, vegetables, lactose. And lactose is low on the glycemic index. And here's the kicker. Added sugars, but not total sugars or total carbs, were strongly associated with depression. They couldn't pinpoint a mechanism. It was associative, not conclusive, but they noticed that one possibility is overconsumption of sugars and refined starches is a risk factor for inflammation and cardiovascular disease, and both of those have been linked to the development of depression. And it could also lead to insulin resistance, which has been linked to cognitive deficits found in those people, found in people with major depression. So I don't know. They always say this sentence, which I love: further research is needed. Well, thanks very much. You know, you don't want people to feel guilty either. You don't want. Let's see here. It's hard enough to get the general public to avoid those crappy foods, but it's even harder to get someone who suffers from depression to avoid them and give them up. You don't want to make them feel guilty and say your diet's bad and you should change it. He says he would take a soft sell approach. Still, he believes the effort is worth it. I think it's important, and it has a big effect on your mood and how you feel and your energy level. If it's something you could change, they would benefit from it. Again, if you felt like shit, I mean, would you try to make a change in your diet?
I mean, it all depends if you can kind of pinpoint where your feeling like shit is coming from. I mean, are you living in an apartment that you can afford and you just happen to be able to buy the giant Halloween bag of candy at Costco and be like, oh, yeah, you know what, I've just been eating a lot of chocolate, So that's the reason why. Or are you living in an apartment that you can't afford and you're living paycheck to paycheck and you splurged yourself with a $5 bag of chocolate and you ate the whole bag? You know, it's there's so many other factors that
did not see anything. We did not see anything in that article about a socioeconomic status link. We did not see anything about I mean, there's a million confounding factors that it could be. So there's no way to know really what that is.
And it's 20 years old. Also, I mean, 1993 is 22 years ago.
For all I know, the data could involve, you know, having all the people who ate those candies were also watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or something like that.
But I think definitely the sugar consumption 20 years ago is completely different than today, because 20 years ago there were not, you know, 5 Starbucks on one corner, you know, and everyone, I think, that drinks a Starbucks and saying, oh, I'm getting a coffee. It's like, no, you're getting a freaking milkshake with a shot of coffee, you know?
Yes. And I think that's true. In fact, I was just listening to Jim Gaffigan, my favorite food-related comedian today. We may have to pull up a clip of him later in the show because that shit is so goddamn funny what he's talking about. But he's like, yeah, you know, you're getting he said the same thing you said. It's a milkshake. When you go to Starbucks, you're getting a milkshake, really, and not a coffee. If you want a cup of coffee, a cup of coffee, like in...
well, and you know me, I used to work at a coffee house back in 1998, 1999. You would come in to my coffee house, and I always hook you up with Mountain Dew. And
I remember,
I mean, granted, this was, you know, 20 years ago, that I had, like, a sorority girl come in, and she's like, yeah, I want a, you know, tall mocha, but, like, with a quarter of the espresso. And I turned around to my coffee jerk, and I was like, yeah, she wants a hot chocolate with a quarter shot. It's not a hot chocolate, it's a mocha. I'm like, no, it's a hot freaking chocolate. You know, we would make milkshakes and add espresso. That's what people today are consuming, are not coffee drinks.
Yeah.
They are milk and sugar drinks with coffee.
And here's the thing is, I mean, I'm a big fan of milk and sugar. Like, I would be okay with having, and I don't suffer from that thing. I will eat cereal at nighttime. I will eat and drink, you know, I will drink a soda in the morning. I don't have that weird thing with people have, like, I would go, when I was in Mexico teaching English, I would always stop at the convenience store on my way to the school. And I would get there was not the flavors of Mountain Dew in the stores the way there are in the U.S. So what I had to get was a cherry Dr. Pepper.
Right.
Okay. And they had the cherry Dr. Pepper, and it was bottled locally in Mexico there. So it was actually kind of the cane sugars. And I never really cared about that either. But I would arrive for my 7 a.m. class with a big, tall cherry Dr. Pepper. And people are like, "Oh, what is wrong with you?" While they're sipping on their Starbucks latte or whatever the hell. And I'm like, "Dude, don't talk shit. Everything's fine." And I don't get that weird thing. Exactly when is the time? You know, when it's
exactly. Yeah, no. I would, because I worked at the coffee shop, I would close the coffee shop at midnight, and I would have a red eye, which would, you know, be brewed coffee with a couple of shots of espresso, because I would go out to another coffee house and hang out with my friends. And I had no problem drinking coffee 24 hours a day. It didn't keep me up. It didn't keep me amped.
Right. And that's the other thing I feel like is I drink caffeine all damn day and all damn night. And I also I drink a Mountain Dew and go straight to bed or take a nap.
Right.
So I think that's funny. Although it does make me think that, you know, you went from one coffee house where you had this extremely strong coffee drink and you went to another coffee house. I'm picturing Kramer from Seinfeld going, "Oh, I think I'm talking kind of fast, but it's pretty hard to tell." That's really funny. Okay.
But yeah, so it's one of those ones that I think it's all relative. I think also with 20-year-old data, they might need to, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, that may be part of the limitation in the study is that the data, they somehow aren't, I mean, I imagine they would have gotten newer data than that if they could have gotten newer data than that. So I don't really know why they're using this old data. Let's switch over to Article 2 because I want to show you the article here. Not that one. That's the one we just looked at. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, the ice cubes on their damn cereal. But before we get there, Cheerios, Cerebel are struggling. We're sad about Cheerios.
We are sad about Cheerios. Basically, what's going on is that the demand for classic cereal is kind of actually going down. Just the normal kind of General Mills without anything special, without the gluten-free, without the dried cranberries and all that kind of stuff, are not, selling as.
Yeah, sales are down. Globally, net sales declined 2% in the last fiscal year for General Mills. But if you don't know, General Mills makes Cheerios, Lucky Charms, all the Pillsbury stuff, all the Green Giant vegetables. They're a big food maker. And they expect 2006 net sales to be about level. So at least maybe the decline is slowing down, but it still looks like it's going down. So yeah, like you say, and I mean, it's hard to read. It's hard to read this and not think about McDonald's, right? Because here's what I think of when I look at this article, and I remember the articles we've covered on this show about McDonald's. McDonald's is rebranding, right? They're trying to get the modern consumer. They want to have the slightly more upscale sandwiches and slightly more upscale buns and maybe more upscale coffee drinks and serving breakfast 24/7. All of these things. That was another Jim Gaffigan joke about McDonald's, by the way, is how would we know when breakfast is over if it wasn't for McDonald's?
10 o'clock, that's when breakfast is over.
Absolutely. Well, not anymore if you're looking at the modern McDonald's thing. But so what we're seeing from General Mills in that same style is they're trying to make cereal palatable to people who are feeding their kids, I guess, they're trying to feed their kids twigs and leaves in a box.
Basically, I mean, General Mills really built their empire, and it says in the article that they built their empire on the sugary cereals, the Trix, the Cocoa Puffs, the Reese's Puffs.
Right.
And parents and adults are trying to get into that healthier, granola and locally farmed and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to get that focus away from their core.
Yeah. And here's what the CEO says. Consumers want more natural foods with simple ingredients. I am okay with the Captain Crunch berries, personally. I still eat Life cereal every day. I still eat Frosted Mini Wheats. Now, I will say this. If you go down the Frosted Mini Wheat aisle, in fact, let me get this off me for a second, because what we're going to do is go to Google Images. I'm going to show you the different types of Frosted Mini Wheats. Here we go. Frosted Mini Wheats types, I guess. Can I put types or like flavors? Yeah, let's do that. Frosted Mini Wheats flavors. Here we go. Okay. Here are the different types of Frosted Mini Wheats flavors. Now, what we're going to see here is this. We have so many Frosted Mini Wheats flavors, you can't even really see them all. Regular, bite size. Chocolate. We have blueberry muffin Frosted Mini Wheats. We have strawberry delight Frosted Mini Wheats. We have the touch of fruit kinds, which have mixed berry or raspberry, a little pocket in the middle, and then cinnamon streusel. And then if that weren't enough, now we have the little bites, which I think are smaller than the Mini Wheats. Like, I mean, I don't even know what the difference is.
Smaller. They're still a mini size, but they're smaller than the mini for the little kid's mouth, I guess.
So I feel like for one thing they're missing out on calling it Frosted Micro Wheats, because for one thing that is kind of a modern 21st century computer geek kind of thing to call your
mini
cereal.
Micro. Yeah,
mini micro. You have your Frosted Micro Wheats, and for one thing, like every candy you can name is going small, right? You have micro Reese's peanut butter cups. I mean, Junior Mints, but these are not new. That has always been small.
The York Peppermint Patties,
the little tiny York Peppermint Patties that are in a big bag. You have, Snickers bites, Milky Way bites, Kit Kat bites, Butterfinger bites. Everything's got bites now. So
everything's a bit.
Everything's shrinking and smaller, so we could do Frosted Micro Wheats, and one serving is a handful of them without and then you could have 18 servings in a box, but have a box this big. Everything's getting smaller at the same price. You know what I'm talking about? The shrinking, keeping the price. So I feel like on one hand they're offering a much greater variety. Now that cereal we just showed, the Frosted Mini Wheats, which is the example I'm using. I don't think are General Mills. Let me go back to that screen, because what company makes them? Kellogg's. That's not.
Kellogg's, yeah.
And I have not done the research to find out if Kellogg's is in the same boat as General Mills. It seems to make sense that they would be.
Mm-hmm.
But they're, they now have gluten-free Cheerios. Well, shit, let's go back to this and look at the types of Cheerios. Are there 18
right, yeah.
Cheerios? Cheerios flavors. Let's just do that. Okay, here's the different types of Cheerios. Honey Nut Cheerios, been around since I was a kid. Frosted Cheerios, I remember when that came out. Medley Crunch Honey Nut Cheerios. I think that's more of a whole grain thing. Multigrain Cheerios. Fruity Cheerios. Tell me how that's anything but Fruit Loops. Apple Cinnamon Cheerios. Regular Cheerios. Chocolate Cheerios. That's like the crack of Cheerios. Dark Chocolate Multigrain Cheerios. Ancient Grains. What the fuck are Ancient Grains?
Ancient Grains I actually saw in the store tonight. I was like, what the fuck are Ancient Grains?
Yeah,
basically, the Ancient Grains are going to be more of the whole grain. They're less processed.
Yeah, okay.
And the other ones, kind of like when you're looking at white bread versus whole wheat bread.
Now look at this one. Dulce de leche Cheerios, Sarabelle. I don't understand. We have Yogurt Burst Cheerios, Oat Cluster Cheerio Crunch, Cinnamon Burst Cheerios, Banana Nut Cheerios. So now this is definitely a cereal made by our friends at General Mills, right?
Right, yeah.
So to say that they're not offering the flavor variety, they're offering that flavor variety just like we saw in Kellogg's, only apparently their sales are still slipping. So this they're hopping on the gluten-free bullshit, even though 99% of people who eat it are fucking high and don't need it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think on my Facebook feed, out of maybe the 10 people I know that are constantly talking about gluten-free and gluten-free this and gluten-free that, only one of them legitimately has a celiac disease. And I've known her, and I have seen her. We were going out to eat somewhere. She asked for something gluten-free. She took a bite of something immediately. Her face turned red. She started to get the itchy throat. She had a legitimate celiac reaction. And she's the one who doesn't post about it constantly, like everyone else who does.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I don't know whether it is... Oh, excuse me. I have an update here. I just got an update for my Android devices that let me customize the ringtone notifications for all of my apps. There are all these Star Trek Now sounds coming out of my phone and tablet like 24/7. I love it. I'm so excited. But yeah, we've gone over this many times before, how the people who have celiac disease don't really complain about it that much. You don't hear about it that much. But the people who just went gluten-free as the latest diet fad, these same people were on the Atkins diet before and were on Slim Fast before that. They do all of the trendy diet things because I'm going to eat healthy, but they're full of shit and we know it. Anyway, I'm interested to keep watching this story, and I'm just interested in calling up flavors of different cereal. When I grew up, there were two kinds of Cheerios,
Right.
There were regular and there were Honey Nut Cheerios, and that was it. And to get Honey Nut Cheerios was kind of a treat, actually, when I was a kid. Now we got...
Yeah, see, when I was a kid, I was very much of the non-sugar cereal family. It was cornflakes and Rice Chex and Rice Krispies and Cheerios. Nothing that was that sugary sweetness. I mean, occasionally we would get Frosted Flakes.
Yeah.
But, I personally did not have, like, Fruit Loops on the regular until I lived on my own.
Right. And, I mean, so I don't know what to make of this. It's a non-specific complaint about the variety of cereals, but if they're not getting increased sales with chocolate Cheerios, banana nut Cheerios, yogurt Cheerios, peanut butter toast crunch, oh my god, then I don't know what they can do. I mean, I guess people are just wanting to feed their kids actual nuts and actual twigs from the tree in the backyard rather than any kind of packaged cereal, because I guess packaged cereal is now somehow bad. It is the bottom of the hour. You are watching the Fast Food Junk Food Extravaganza with myself, Sebastian, and my good partner, Sarah Bell. As we promised, at the bottom of the hour before you. Sarabelle, this is the confusion of all confusions. And here's the other thing. This is not new. If you read the BuzzFeed article, the one thing that's very clear is not only are you finding these occasional posts from people going, hey, am I the only one that does this? No, not only are they not the only one, this goes back years.
Right. I think someone, so what it was is I had been looking at the heat wave in the UK, and then off of BuzzFeed, I saw the whole, am I the only person who puts ice cubes in my cereal? And it had photos of people from like 2012, not even like, they had recent ones, but all the way back, 2-3 years. And it's like, what the Smurf is wrong with you?
Right. Now, I mean, one of the people in the Trekkie chat, hello, Trekkie chatters, if you happen to be out there. My Trekkie chat friends, one of them actually said, don't knock it until you've tried it. And I do believe in that for the most part. So I don't want it, excuse me, brought to you by Belch Beer. No, but I'm not really knocking it so much as completely kind of confused by it. Wouldn't it make your cereal watery? If you like good, thick 2% milk on there, or God forbid, whole milk like I use, that's going to water that shit down and make it kind of like skim milk. The other thing is, I'm not really one of the people that needs it to be ice cold for cold cereal to be good. I don't get this on a number of levels, but let's look at the BuzzFeed article. And what you saw here, people are actually ice cubes on their damn cereal from the great journalistic bastion that is BuzzFeed. Let's look at this. In June, this is a month ago now, the date on this is July 8th. So this is a brand new article, and it's from BuzzFeed, Luke Bailey in the UK. I don't know if this makes it more of a British thing.
I think
in June, Twitter user Karina...
I don't think it's necessarily very American. I think it's more of the British thing, because apparently they don't have air conditioners over there.
So here we go. Twitter user Karina put ice cubes on her cereal, and the image gained 1,000 retweets as people expressed their intense confusion. Back to me for a second. I was in the aisle, the cereal aisle, as I so often am, and I found. Do you remember the cereal pictures I was tweeting from Mexico, Sarabelle?
Yes. Like it was the chocolate frosted flakes and
thank you.
All the other kind of craziness.
It was chocolate frosted flakes, but they're called Zucaritas is the name of the cereal, and azucar is the Spanish word for sugar. So Zucaritas is like sugaries, or like sugar smacks or sugar puffs or whatever. Right. But these are essentially chocolate frosted flakes with the Lucky Charms marshmallows.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's
what it was. So it was like chocolate frosted flakes with malvaviscos. That's what they call marshmallows there. It was Zucaritas con malvaviscos y chocolate, and it was like, fuck yeah. It was so goddamn good. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I'm in the cereal aisle this week thinking, because all the year I was in Mexico, I was thinking to myself, man, if only they had these in the United States. The one thing I complain about when I complain about Charms is what?
That they don't have them.
No. Well, it's that they're Lucky Charms, that kibble shit, the shit that is in there that is like dog food, essentially. The non-marshmallow part of
the non-marshmallow parts, yeah.
That white shit it's got all of the vitamins and nutrients that people are like, yeah, like Lucky Charms has vitamins and nutrients. It actually does, according to the nutritional information, but none of it is in the marshmallow. All in the kibble, right?
The cereal.
And I'm like, the one thing that makes this suck is that it's not chocolate. Well, in Mexico they had it, and now, so save my soul, we now have chocolate Lucky Charms in the grocery stores, keeping your kids fat forever and ever. I don't support that for kids. I really don't. Like, if you're going to feed your kids, try and feed them kids well. But once you're of adult age, fuck yeah, game on. And I am an adult, so I'm going to eat all the goddamn sugar I possibly can, including chocolate Lucky Charms. They're magically delicious. Pink hearts, yellow moons, orange stars, green clovers, blue diamonds, and purple horseshoes. So on that little, you'd think I actually had some before coming on the air. Swear to God, I didn't even really buy them yet.
Well, did you see the Star Wars Lucky Charms yet?
I've seen them. I have not bought them. You said you've had them. Or you
I have them. They, you know, because I'm not a fan of Lucky Charms because it is too sweet. The kibble in this Star Wars was actually not too bad. I actually really kind of liked it. It was like a sweet Rice Krispie kind of kibble that was going on.
Rice Krispie. Now that does kind of intrigue me. I almost had a seizure when you said it was too sweet because, in a way, a regular Lucky Charms to me is not sweet enough.
Right.
That is the different sort of sliding scale we're talking about here. Is I'm a sugar fiend as far as like a crackhead sugar fiend goes. I mean, that's kind of my complaint about the white kibble in regular Lucky Charms is that it's not sweet enough. So, yeah, I mean, everybody different strokes. Back to the article, though. People are putting ice cubes on their damn cereal. Now, go through this, and you were saying the heat wave in the country of Europe is... Sure.
Yeah, I mean, when I was looking at these stories, there was a heat wave going on, and basically it was, you know, 75 degrees. You know, it wasn't by our Arizona native standards, it was not that hot. But this was a link off of that article, and it was just that people were tweeting about having to eat their cereal with ice cubes.
Yeah, the actual text is, am I the only one that cannot eat cereal without ice cubes? And the original post got 1,000 retweets. It made its way onto Tumblr, where it got 170,000 notes. And there it is, that white kibble with those marshmallows. And then the response here, you can see, LMAO, the fuck, yeah, you are the only one. People simply couldn't understand. Feed goes on. Turns out many people do this. And there it is with, what is that, Rice Krispies and those with milk and some ice cubes. And this person, you got to love kind of ghetto English we're seeing here. Am I the only person that put ice in day cereal? Don't judge me, hashtag. All right, whatever. Many people. Okay, this is clearly, I think, a picture just for the internet that they did not.
I think that picture was just for the internet.
I mean, there is more ice in that than cereal.
Well, and see, I have two problems with the ice cube in the cereal. The first one is the taste problem, because I think it really would water my cereal down. I mean, just use skim milk instead of, 2%. The other thing is, I don't want to be like the Titanic when I'm having my breakfast. I don't want to have to be looking out for icebergs. I want to be able to mindlessly shovel the kibble into my mouth while watching my Saturday night cartoons and not have to look down to make sure I'm not getting an ice cube in my spoon.
I always eat my cereal always with 2 ice cubes. Is that weird? Now, this person puts an explanation in there, which is the first time I even really remember seeing it. I just like my cereal extra cold. All right. Now, that I can get behind. I still wouldn't do it because I'm worried about the watering down and, yeah, getting an ice cube. Cereal with ice in a sandwich. Some of these are from 2012. Does anyone else put ice in their cereal? It's a habit. And look at that. 18 ice cubes. Those ice crescents even. The only way I'll eat cereal. Hashtag ice. It's a normal way of life for some people. And they put the ice on first in Indiana. Apparently ice in your cereal is socially acceptable. Just a thing that people do. I don't know. They even put bananas in as well. Now, they make that seem all strange. Bananas, I understand.
Bananas are normal in cereal.
Well, I actually had this discussion with my mom not all that long ago as well, because I grow strawberries. In my mom's garden, I have some strawberry plants, and I go and I eat these strawberries that I grow. And she gets all excited. She's like, oh, you could slice those up and put them in your cereal. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to eat them. And she's like, oh, what do you mean? Why don't you want? I'm like, well, I think cutting up strawberries and bananas on your cereal comes from a time when cereal tasted like shit and wasn't sweetened. And so, I feel like that's an important thing to pay attention to, is that I would just rather eat the strawberries and then have a bowl of cereal,
Well, and see, my mom always I want to say Easter time is when strawberries are really good. So she would get a flat of strawberries at Costco, slice them up, and for a giant Tupperware of strawberries, she put 4 or 5 cups of sugar, and then it all kind of like melts down, and you've got that really sweet strawberry juice. And I'd put that on my cereal because that would make, you know, that even more sweeter because, you know.
Yeah. And that's not bad. And I mean, here's the thing. If you want to talk about keeping your cereal cold, I can even see a sliced and then frozen banana, or a sliced and then frozen strawberry. You know, if you wanted to slice strawberries, put them in the freezer, and then bust some out and put them in your cereal, that makes actually enormous sense to me. If temperature is a real thing for you, and that would be the way to do it, to keep yourself from, you know, melting down into liquid, you know, cereal. I mean,
I would just freeze milk at that point. Or something that I have done is I have occasionally scooped in like a tablespoon of ice cream into my cereal and milk.
Wow. Okay, now we're getting a little far afield. That seems a little strange to me. It doesn't seem bad. I guess it depends on the kind of cereal and the kind of ice cream. But I will say this. You know, for frozen fruit in cereal makes sense, and frozen milk, you can't do that because, I mean, you can't, I mean,
it separates.
Well, yeah, you'll separate the milk, and there's all kinds of problems. Milk super cold to the point where it freezes because you don't want milk slush. You know, that's kind of gross. I don't know. Maybe people do. I think ice cubes in the milk is gross, so I don't even fucking know. But this is the only place you'll find this sort of discussion. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about Subway, Sarabelle.
Subway. The former, I mean, this is your bro. You've interviewed him.
I'm going to stop you right there. He is not my bro. I interviewed this guy in the radio station newsroom when he was doing a fucking like junket for Subway. He was going on all the would have him, and at the time I was more amused, I guess, by kind of the weird, because you know how, what was it? Like the Simpsons as a cartoon guest stars. The thing about the South Park is they would only want them to be there to be guest stars that were sort of weird or offbeat guest stars, and so I didn't like to put, you know, just I like to interview the newsmakers on my radio show, but occasionally I like to try and do something very unique and very different. And Subway found a way to make Jared go on a news tour and some kind of program they had, or it was bullshit. It was. And I admit that now, and I'm actually kind of regretful that I did it. Not because Jared's under arrest now for kiddie porn, but like, I just feel like, there's no way to tell who's going to be arrested next for kiddie porn, and I feel like, all right, Jared, let's look at the news story here and tell me what you have sort of learned about this here.
What it was is that federal and state authorities had raided Jared, is it Fogle? This last Tuesday, as part of a child pornography investigation. They did go ahead and remove the electronics from his house, and Subway immediately had suspended any kind of relationship with Jared. I think what they were saying is they was cooperating with law enforcement in the investigation. One of the things that I had seen was that someone else in Jared's circle, not Jared himself, but someone else was arrested on child pornography charges. So they're thinking that maybe Jared had some interaction or something with that other person. But beyond that, Jared hasn't been charged with anything. They just took his stuff for right now.
And that's important to say. I mean, you can see the statement here. They're shocked about the news. They believe it's related to a prior investigation of a former Jared Foundation employee. That may have even been the reason why I was interviewing him, was the Jared Foundation, kind of this non-commercial charity thing they were doing to try and, get coverage, but kind of give something back to the community or whatever the hell, So,
there it was. It was the executive director from the Jared Foundation was the one who was arrested on child pornography charges.
Got it.
And that was in April of this year. So
I mean, hopefully, I kind of feel bad because here's the thing. I feel like a lot of people may get. I've always wondered about this in my mind. It's like, what could you do to fuck up somebody's life if you hated them?
Right.
And all you had to really do in this day and age is point to them and say, child pornographer. And even if it's bullshit, just the accusation can ruin somebody's life, you know? And that makes me wonder about Jared. Like, it's like, I mean, what if he's innocent? If he's a creep, then, I mean, obviously, he deserves to be put away, and that's just the end of it. But, like, if he's innocent, somebody's life is ruined just cause. Like, that really is a fucked up thing to me. Am I logical here at all?
Oh, no, it's completely fucked up. I think that people kind of, I guess they think that it's deserving sometimes if there's like a celebrity or a person that they don't like and they see that something has gotten fucked up, then it's like, oh, well, they deserve it, you know. I think of a lot of people that I used to know back in Arizona that were not the best sort of people. And you'd hear occasionally that something had happened to them because an associate of them was taken in for child pornography. I can think of something that happened in Phoenix. And then it's kind of, you know, that, not shine, but, you know, they kind of get that, a little bit of their gleam taken off, even though it wasn't them, but someone they associated with.
Exactly. And I feel like that, I don't like that about our culture, and I feel, assuming he's innocent, which I don't want to even necessarily assume that, because if he's a creep, then obviously he ought to be put away, and, you know, that there's nothing worse than kind of a child molester. But I think it's really easy to accuse people of certain things and have it maybe just be an accusation that is completely unfounded. And it's happened before, which is why it worries me. But so yeah, my brush with greatness, not greatness, like my brush with, I was going to say fame the second time. It's not even really fame. He's just like a guy who ate Subway subs and got skinny from it.
Right.
McDonald's has one of those now. I covered it one of the weeks you were away. I covered that story where McDonald's has a guy who he ate nothing but salads, and he lost a shitload of weight, brought his bad cholesterol way down, and now he's kind of on the McDonald's like payroll as a kind of spokesperson / branding authority or whatever the hell. So it's A, it's possible to eat healthy at fast food. B, child pornographers suck. And C, false accusations also suck, and whatever the hell else I guess I'm trying to. Let's go on. We got about 10 minutes left here. Let's take a look at the next news story I was going to do. Here's let's see here. Here's the 13. You do this really fast. I don't want to go too far over, but you do the 13 junk foods from around the planet that look weird but taste delicious. Let's just bang through them.
Yeah. Those were great. I sent that to you earlier this week.
Yeah.
I don't have it up on my screen.
Gaufre from Belgium.
That looks good. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a Belgian waffle with strawberries and bananas and chocolate. I mean, that to me, awesome.
It looks good. I got no problem with that. Honey butter chips from Korea. Okay, getting a little weird here. These are potato chips. Are these potato chips with honey and butter? Yeah,
that's basically what they are. And my students in Korea were constantly talking about them because it would be, kind of that social thing. What's popular in Korea, what's popular in America. They had it so you could only buy one bag at a time because there were runs on convenience stores, and they've got great marketing over in South Korea because their pop stars are gods, and they get the pop stars to like the chips or endorse the chips or be seen walking around with the chips, and then all the fans are like, oh, I must have. So
okay. Whatever, I'm over it already because the sweet, salty rule. Yeah. This doesn't look too bad. What is this? Cheese and meat inside of bread. Everything delicious rolled up in one. Great delivery system. Warm, savory filling, buttery pastry, breadcrumbs, before being fried. Oh, wow. Shit, yeah, that looks pretty good. Coxinha from Brazil. I have Brazilian English students. I may have to ask that. Koshari from Egypt. Okay. A carb lover's dream. Lentils, pasta, and rice. That looks pretty good. Bamba from Israel. Okay, is this some kind of donut? Oh, peanut flavored puffs, sweet and salty. Fuck no. Okay, we got chicken filet roll from Ireland.
That looks really good. Looking at that,
I think that's just, what is that? Chicken with grated cheese or something? That's all right.
Yeah, I'm simple.
Yeah, love that name. This looks like a version of poutine, right, from Canada.
Yeah.
Although I'm not really into the onions too much. Translating to war chips in Dutch. These onions, fries, mayo, peanut sauce. Outrageous in the best way possible. Fried Mars bar from Scotland. All right, yeah.
I can get behind that.
I'm on board with that. No problem. Turrón de Doña Pepa from Peru. Okay, this cake was originally meant for religious ceremonies, but has since become popular outside of them. Those are called Doña Pepa biscuits. The colorful things on top there, they look like sprinkles to me. Okay,
like giant sprinkles.
Boy Bawang from Philippines. Okay, what the fuck is this? This is corn snacks, known for their garlic flavor. Pour them in a bowl like cereal and add vinegar.
And see, to me, that just made me think of corn nuts with vinegar, and that just is not, no.
I mean, here's the funny thing about corn nuts is I always liked eating them, but then I smelled what other people smell like when they're eating them, and that I really don't like. Like, corn nuts on the train or airplane are not cool. Coco Prenz from Turkey. Nutella sandwiches. Oh, okay. Oreos. Oh, okay. I gotta interrupt here. Saw something, and I think maybe you've talked about this before. Oreos that are flavored like s'mores. Have you brought this up to me?
Yes, I had some.
You had some, and that's right. You liked them because you said the cookies were kind of soft and okay.
Yeah.
My complaint is, well, A, I'm not really big on Oreos, but B, am I the only one that thinks they really missed the million idea by not naming them S'moreos?
Yeah. Now, I saw a package of Oreos in the store today that were cookies and cream Oreos. And
okay, you just blew my mind. Like, holy fucking shit. How can you have the cookies in cookies and cream are Oreos? So you cannot have cookies and cream flavored cookies. That's like, I don't even know what that's like. There's literally nothing like it in the universe.
I was like, what the hell?
That is fucking bizarre.
Like, I don't know how they're doing it. The only thing I can think of is that the frosting has bits of cookie in it.
Yeah, that could be. I don't know. That's just a little bit the extreme here. Let's go back to the article here. The last couple: Nutella snack and drink from Italy. Okay, whatever. Pizza La from Japan. Okay. That's got hot dogs in it.
Ah.
Sausage rim bacon potato pizza. Okie doke.
Not sure I can get behind that.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel like that either. And I didn't really hate the American version, which was all right. Anyway, let me do a quick Google search. I forgot to pull up the one story I really wanted to bring at the end here, which was 5 fast food places you should avoid. Okay. Where was that? Was it this one? No, I don't think that was it. I don't think it was on Forbes. Okay, hang on a second. I'm going to bring it back to me. Like, say something about the Korean chips some more while I bring this up.
Well, the other thing I was going to mention that I saw a commercial for, and I haven't tried it yet, is Wendy's has their Baconator sandwich, which is going to be the 2 patties and like a 1/4 pound worth of bacon. Now they have Baconator French fries.
What are in Baconator French fries?
It's just their Wendy's fries with bacon and more bacon and cheese sauce, apparently.
Well, I like cheese sauce on fries. I don't hate that. And I don't really hate bacon on them either. But I don't know. That seems a little
Yeah, I mean, the commercial made it look really good because the commercial was very, very food porn, very really good pictures of the bacon and all that kind of, that stuff that foodies like, as far as seeing the bacon and the popping and the sizzling. Um,
Hey, food porn is something else. I tell you what.
yeah, but the thing
Definitely.
is,
Okay.
a lot of people, and there was an article about it, is that a lot of people are tired of the
Oh dear.
commercials
Hopefully, we're
that.
not losing our.
Oh no, are you there? You've paused on the screen.
It's the internet connection. Assuming my connection is okay, let's keep going. Are you there, sweetheart?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your face just isn't moving.
Okay, well your face kind of froze as well. Let's finish this up before we run out of time here. Here are the 5 incredibly delicious chain restaurants you should never ever eat at, and one you should but can't. This is from Upworthy. A friend of mine on Facebook did this. Fast food, kind of a big deal. Let's just get to the list here. Papa John's. It's delicious. I think most people know about Papa John's pizza and know it's pretty good. They have special garlic sauce. They have Cinnapie. Why you should never eat there? Because the
they don't
CEO
pay their employees.
Papa John's, yeah. He's talking about Obamacare. He wants to explain that Obamacare means you're paying more for pizza and you're going to like it. If Obamacare is in fact not repealed, we will find tactics to shallow out any Obamacare costs and core strategies to pass that cost onto the consumer. It turns out it's 11 to 14 cents more per pizza. And they're also going to cut some worker hours to get them out of having to provide them with health care. So they're kind of really shitty to their employees. And then they found out about it. He went on beyond it. That's what leaders do. Hey, it's a tough economy, they say, until they find out about his house, a 40,000 square foot castle on 16 acres in Kentucky with a 22-car underground parking garage. So yeah, Papa John is Batman, this person says. So the leader of Papa John's is a piece of shit, essentially. And I mean, not just like internet shaming. I'm saying like he's not just the internet shaming piece of shit type of thing. He's an actual, real, honest to God piece of shit.
Right.
And that's a shame because I like Papa John's. Sonic, yes, please. Let's go to Sonic right now. We all know about the, and you and I have been to Sonic many times.
Oh yeah, many times.
What's the reason not to go to Sonic? Because of how much they pay their car hops. The median hourly minimum wage, or the median hourly wage for fast food workers is $9.19 an hour. Jobs get $6.70 an hour because theoretically you're supposed to be able to tip them.
Oh right, yeah.
But they have this automated card thing now at the Sonic, so you can just charge it instantly. However, there's no place on the receipt to tip them. There's no place in the interaction on the computer thing to tip them. So even though they get paid like you're supposed to tip them, no one ever does. Right? You have to tip in cash, and nobody.
I've been going to Sonic since I've been able to drive, and I have never tipped them because it is part of the setup of how Sonic is. You either have the drive-through or you have like the 20-some bay, drive-in. It's never been a please tip your waiters because,
They never say it, but they treat their people as though they're to be tipped, and then that just gets them out of paying a certain amount, and that is kind of fucked up, right? I actually do agree with that. Continuing on, we might go over our hour, but that's okay. Wendy's is amazing. Everybody loves Wendy's. Only Wendy's, we actually pay even less than McDonald's does. $8.10 an hour for Wendy's, $8.21 an hour though. That's a little bit less tipping thing at Sonic. That's a little bit less severe than the Papa John's leader guy, but that's still kind of fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Cracker Barrel. Do you like Cracker Barrel?
I've liked it the times that I've gone. I'm not like let's go to Cracker Barrel on, but yeah.
Yeah. Some people say raspberry sweet tea is why. Other people blah, blah, blah. Apparently, let's see here. Under the pretense of separate but equal, it's basically segregation. At least 42 plaintiffs have accused the Lebanon, Tennessee-based company of discrimination in federal lawsuits. Black customers in 16 states say they are subjected to racial slurs and serve food taken from the trash, while Cracker Barrel management ignored or condoned it.
Wow. And see, I thought it was going to be about their no homosexual policy.
Yeah, well, it turns out Cracker Barrel has gotten better, but they've taken some weird detours. Cracker Barrel isn't just a restaurant store. It turns out the duck materials, like they sell marketing shit for this Duck Dynasty show, which I never, understood or watched.
Right.
Know what it is, but they, I guess there was a problem with the Duck Dynasty people. They were like fucking redneck racists as well, and came out saying so on the somehow how stuff came out, and then their show was canceled. Blah blah blah.
Right.
All that merchandise off the shelves, and then put it back a day later. Putting back the redneck materials for Duck Dynasty T-shirts and all that other happy horse shit. So. Whatever, I'm in the first place, so I don't even give a shit about them. They could fuck off and die for all I care. Chick-fil-A, okay, Chick-fil-A, we've talked about them. Just last week, Chick-fil-A was named as like the most liked, I think it was.
Right.
Among the American Consumer Confidence like poll or survey.
Yeah.
I never ever eat at Chick-fil-A.
Customer service or something like that.
Yeah, is that Chick-fil-A, their donations have nothing at all to do with putting more money in the hands of their obscenely wealthy top brass and making sure that Dan at the register can't file their taxes together, even though they love each other deeply. So yeah, okay, so it's essentially the anti-LGBT thing, and essentially they made good on their word. They said they were going to get out of. That's the complaint here, is that they said in that, remember the Chick-fil-A
right.
dust up, they're anti-gay, and some people were boycotting them and some people were supporting them. Well, after that, they said, you know what, we're just a chicken company. We don't want to donate to the anti-gay groups anymore. So they were kind of quietly trying to do the right thing, but then they still kept doing it. They still keep donating to anti-gay groups. So Chick-fil-A is worth not going to. And then the number one, the place where you should go but probably can't go is In-N-Out Burger. And they have no complaints. This article has no complaints about In-N-Out Burger. In-N-Out Burger does stuff right for the most part, super cheap. And problem, why can't I eat at In-N-Out? You can't eat at In-N-Out Burger because you're probably among the 76% of Americans who don't live in California, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, or Texas. So the only reason you can't eat at In-N-Out is not because of anything political. It's just because they're only in 5 states in the union.
Right. Which is ridiculous.
Which is fine by me because
you're in one.
I'm in one of the In-N-Out states. And those potatoes turning into fries, I love that. I love their burgers. I love their sauce. And I gotta say, the workers are happy. You could look at those workers and tell they're not abused. They are sort of making decent money for this job, and they're happy overall. You know?
Oh, In-N-Out.
Oh, I love In-N-Out. Well, you can go to In-N-Out Burger again, darling. Let's see. I feel like there was something we missed. What article did we miss that we were going to do?
I think that was everything that I sent you during the week.
It is everything I teased as well. Well, God for fucking bid. We did everything we were supposed to do, and it's a beautiful thing. So go enjoy some cereal with ice cubes in it, darling.
No, that's okay. I think I will have cereal just with cereal and milk.
I will have a bowl of Junior Mints with some Mountain Dew poured on top because that's what I'm eating here.
Right.
It's not really what I'm going to do because that's fucking gross. But make it a great night. We will see you next Saturday at 10 p.m. West Coast time, 0500 GMT. Until then, I'm Sebastian.
I'm Sarah Bell.
And we will see you next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Yay!
Buddy.